So I want to talk a little bit today in this roughly 20 minutes. I like to keep it relatively short so people can gather a piece for themselves and move on with their day. Kind of a pit stop podcast. And talk really about vulnerability. I haven't posted anything on social media, so this will be my kind of vulnerability moment in a little while, simply because I'm dealing with some my neck is dealing with some challenges, arthritis and a pinched nerve, and it's really thrown off my focus. And full transparency, gathering my thoughts, even for this recording, may be a challenge. So I'm just going to do my very best with where I'm at, because I'm in a significant amount of pain for the past roughly 120 days. And finally, seeking out some sources that hopefully will alleviate the challenge, because it's really thrown off my focus. It's thrown off my inside game a bit. It's still going. I would not say it's as strong as it's been. And I need to dig in a little bit deeper on it. And it's created a little bit of a divide between me and myself. And I think as a result, my ability to really fully participate in my marriage and as a father and in my business, it's just been really, really super challenging. And so what I notice is in these situations is my ability to make decisions is minimized. I just kind of just say to my wife, my daughter, whatever you want to do, my kids, whatever you want to do. Okay. If you want to, okay, sure, we can do that. Because I don't know how I'm going to feel from moment to moment. And there are some moments and some stretches of short periods of time where I feel okay. And then other stretches, and I'm feeling okay right now. So that's why I'm recording this. But the vast majority of the time is really been, if I'm checking in and really getting clear, it's been a little bit exhausting because of the amount of pain that my neck has been dealing with. Notice how I say my neck has been dealing with, because I don't want to own it. Don't need to. I need to be aware of it. And I'm responding to it. And there's a couple other things going on for me physically that are being addressed as well. And what I know is that at a certain point in time, when things present themselves physically in a health related way, that there are certain things mentally and emotionally that have slipped through the cracks, that have ultimately been or remained still unresolved, and as a result then manifest physically in the body. So I have energy to place to that, and right now in terms of working on with that, right? And I'm also aware that I do need some assistance in getting out of pain so that I can see it more clearly. Doesn't stop me from doing other things. It just inhibits me from being more effective at it. And I really have to ramp myself up to go and do it. It took me about 45 minutes to kind of figure out how to prepare myself to even do this podcast. So bear with me, and hopefully some of this will make sense. But it's just been the vulnerability aspect has been something that has presented itself to me, the willingness to share what's present. And I don't always share what's present. And I'm doing this in this platform because it feels most comfortable to me. And I feel like it's out there and then it's done. I don't get on the phone with people all day long and talk about that other stuff. I'm aware the old self wants to do that. That's familiar to me. Talk about all the things that are not feeling well. And I don't. I just say, oh, I'm dealing with some wellness challenges, or I just say, hey, I'm splendid. My body thinks otherwise, but that's okay. We're working with that. So it's been a challenge, and it does take a lot of energy to manage pain, physical pain. For those of you who understand chronic pain or experiencing any kind of pain, it takes a lot out just to manage that. And manage is a tricky word too, because how are you really managing it? It's not necessarily going always so well. In any event, vulnerability, bear with me. I've been talking about it a lot lately. I've been seeing it in chats and people talking about it in terms of social media and what people post. And when I see things, I realize that there are times that I get triggered when I see things that people are posting or putting out there that are just so not how as I experience them, or not what I know is really going on in their lives. And it's kind of like what I would reference as a staged vulnerability. Oh yeah, wait, what's today? Oh yeah, today's my vulnerability post, so that people think I'm relatable. And I find it fascinating. So I see these things, and so when I see them, if I'm scrolling and I check a couple things out and I find myself triggered by it, or I find myself moving into judgment, I just put my phone down. Just I can't do this, because I realize that it's something inside of me that gets activated that I need to work with. So let me go work with that the best I can. And I also understand that when I don't feel well physically, when most people don't feel well physically, their mental and emotional and spiritual uh, spokes of the wheel aren't always turning most effectively. So there's that. But somebody had sent me a text message asking my thoughts on, really, in essence, how they could elicit a certain kind of response for people, thinking that they're going to post something and people are going to respond to it a certain way, and then they respond to it differently. And how can I phrase it differently? And I sat with it for a couple of days, and I thought to myself, that's kind of manipulating your audience, right? That's not really authenticity. The inside game is really, I mean, you can't get much more deeper or more inside in the inside game than focusing on your heart. And what I shared with them is I said, listen, I think it's really important that you focus on what speaks to your heart. We have to stop posting in the hopes that other people will like it, in the hopes that other people will respond to it, in hopes that other people will relate to it, and really kind of, I don't know, use social media as a way, if we're going to be really effective in terms of wanting to present ourselves, that it's something that's just genuine and authentic and real and true. Now, for some people, getting in and out of private airplanes and getting in and out of fancy cars that they don't even own, uh, shooting videos in slow motion as they walk onto the beach, posing, doing all that stuff. For some people, like, that's who they are, and that's okay. It's not my thing. And, if I find myself starting to judge it, I have to look at myself, and I will, and I do. And at the same time, when I see and when I know that people are really going, oh, I have to do my vulnerability person. Some people will literally, and I've seen this multiple times, they'll take a picture of themselves crying and post it, which I don't get. I don't think you have to either be dancing somewhere or strolling the beach or getting off a jet and then have to cut to, a couple days later saying, oh, I need something that's a little bit more vulnerable. I know, let me cry, and I'll post that and talk about him having a rough day. I realize for myself that sometimes I post things and I write things, and I do it honestly, selfishly, because the truth of the matter is, if anybody else can pick up on something that I'm writing and it resonates and it relates to them, fantastic. In many cases, I'm writing for myself. People say to me, well, why do you put out those Mitchisms? And some people will respond to ones that I think I don't, weren't necessarily my ultimate favorites, or I thought were really the most profound, but it'll really strike a nerve with people. And I don't know, it just did. And then other times I'll write something that's incredibly profound, and, and the response is less. And I'm always fascinated by that. That to me is I'm fascinated by it, but I'm not married to that. I write Mitchisms because, truth be told, though they don't get it now, they really don't get it now. My daughters, like, they really don't get it. I really trust and believe that there will come a point in time when I'm no longer on the planet and they are of age, that they will be able to read them and know who their father was. know how I thought, know how I felt, know what moved me. And I do believe and I trust that at some point when they've gone through their teenage years and into their 20s and possibly 30s, whatever, at some point they'll be able to look back on that and look at those things and say, oh, okay, that's a picture. Each one of those is a picture of my father. And that means something to me. Because sometimes I post something and I have a certain intention in terms of what it means, and then someone will comment and go, and it's really like vulnerable for me, right? And they'll comment and they'll have taken it a completely different way. They will have interpreted it a completely different way. I'm like, how did that happen? How did they make that leap? But they did, and if that's what works for them, fantastic. So I wrote back to this person. I said, listen, the inside game is about your heart. What speaks to your heart? What is it that you need to be reminded of? Allowing the audience a glimpse, they're going to interpret any way they want. You may be sharing a part of your heart that just basically is just raw, and you're not offering up a solution. Well, I was feeling this way, and so I did this, and then I felt better. That may be a post. Or, you know what? I'm in the shit right now. I'm just working through some stuff. I don't know what it is. I'm not looking for sympathy. I'm not looking for empathy. You know, if you want to give me a thumbs up, fantastic. But I'm just posting this for me because I'm realizing, like, whoa, this is really present for me. But to post something in the hopes that you're going to elicit a certain response to people is manipulation. You're manipulating people to think you live this glamorous life, this unbelievable life of travel, and maybe you do. And if you really genuinely do, fantastic. Post away. But I think we all have to come to a point and decide, well, what is it that we want to share with other people? What is it that we want other people to see from a frequency standpoint? Like, what is the frequency that I want to put out in the world? I have my moments like everybody else. I have my challenges like everybody else. I'm going through it right now. Like, this is intense for me. And I also, in the midst of everything that I have going on, I just feel this immense, and I'm so grateful for my inside game because despite that, and despite my moments in my human skin where I'm really, really, finding myself down or in tears or whatever, gratitude is always right there next to it. Like, it's always right there. And that's because of my inside game. To hold in the gratitude and the gratefulness of my experience and knowing that something is up for healing. In the midst of everything that I'm going through and experiencing. And it's a significant amount for me. It's physically never presented itself in this way before for me. So I know that something huge is up for growth and healing. I don't know what it is. That's called stepping into the unknown and trusting it. But I do understand that I have to get to a certain place where I feel well enough physically where I'm not managing pain 24/7 so that I can do that deeper level of work. And along the way, I still need to focus on my breath. I still choose to focus on gratitude. I still need to stay present because that's important to me. And noticing when I'm slipping, noticing when I'm moving away from that. And gearing myself up for doing the podcast or gearing myself up for a client call or gearing myself up to respond to a text message. But it's so fascinating because when you're staging vulnerability, it's not real. It's really not the truth. Or it's the truth, but you're doing it in such a way as, oh, if I do this, then people will see me, and then I'll be able to ask them to buy this product, to join my business, to come to my seminar, to do whatever. Meaning there's an ulterior motive. Instead of just being open and real and honest and just saying, hey, this is just me in the moment. I don't need anything from you. I don't want anything from you. I'm not doing this for any other reason than I felt like I just needed to express what's on my heart. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. And a lot of times when I go to post something, I'm like, why am I posting this? What is this for? What is it that I want to say? Because when I post something, it's what's present for me, and I understand that if it's present for me, there's a strong likelihood that it will be relatable to other people. It's not a guarantee, but it's a likelihood that I feel confident of it. And you know what? Sometimes that post is for my kids, and sometimes that post is a reminder for me. Because I need reminders too. I need reminders too. So think about what you're posting. Think about how you're presenting yourself. Think about why you're presenting yourself in a certain way. What is it that you're looking to achieve, to accomplish, to share? Trust the people who need to see it will find it. Need to hear it will do so. It's not about algorithms. It's not about manipulation. It's not about a sale. It's about letting people in to understand that, you know what? We're all in our human experience. We're all in our human skin. We're in Earth School. We're doing the best we can in any given moment. Sometimes when we're not, we catch ourselves and deep in the process. And that's the whole point of the inside game. It's a resource. It's the ability to get yourself present in the midst of uncertainty, of doubt, of physical pain, of emotional pain, of mental pain, of grief, of all of it. It's there as kind of a way to steady the boat, keep us present as possible, keep us more connected to our hearts, keep us more connected to our loving. I'm Mitch Newman. We'll see you again next time.